to your favorite show, the Shepherd's Corner. Conversations with Archbishop J.
Are we going to be conversating today?
We are conversating, Archbishop J.
Wow.
Serious conversating, you know.
Make up your mind. Is conversations or conversating?
Conversating.
Okay,
Serious
good. All right.
conversating.
All right, good.
Because the question of the day is what this little microbe is doing to us.
That's the title. That's not the question.
Yeah, but I have to ask the question.
No, the question is...
Yeah, well, when I say that, is COVID-19 a tool of the devil?
You know, somebody asked me that in Trinidad.
How you mean? I would ask a question like that. Is it a tool of the devil?
What do you think?
What is, if it's a tool of the devil?
What's your thoughts?
My thought on it?
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, it's a tool of the devil.
Okay, let me go down the road
let me go.
You see, this virus is terrifying. It's past frightening. You know? It's terrifying because it's spread by human to human contact, which forces us into isolation.
Okay.
What we as humans, our DNA wants to connect.
Correct.
We are created to connect. We are created as social beings. When they go down into the smallest particles of what is living in the organism, all of them, everything connects. And what this microbe is doing, or this virus is doing, is separating, isolating, and moving us apart. So it is spread in the air. So even this now, we now know could be a little challenge. Because not only is it in the air, it's in the air for at least 3 to 8 hours. So that means that
be breathing in the microbe.
You could be breathing it in all now. And that forces us to practice physical and social distancing from people. But worse than that, this thing is age discriminatory.
So depending on your age.
It don't like old people.
It don't like old people.
No, because when you look at the graph,
Yeah.
the deaths among the young is very low. The deaths among the over 80s is 18%.
Wow.
So like 0.3% or so, or 0.1% in the young ages, over 80, 18%. So it discriminates against the old people, and especially and against the infirmed, because the infirmed and the elderly, their death rate is truly rough.
And you gonna ask me a question about whether or not this little microbe is something from the devil. It had to be.
You see, this thing is targeting the most vulnerable. And that's why people are saying this have to be from the devil. Because it's targeting the most vulnerable, which is your elderly and your infirm. It's targeting your most vulnerable in terms of people who have 3 illnesses: high blood pressure, sugar, and any respiratory disease. Well, you have a 50-something% chance of death. If you have 1 disease, you have about a 20% chance. 2, a 30% chance. But 3, a 50-something% chance you die.
So 1 in 2 going down.
Yes, for people who have more than one illness, comorbidity is what they call it. It's so, you know, everything about this virus goes against everything that we have held to be honorable, to be sacred, and to be true about us as human beings. And it's in one sense, it's pushing us away from things that directions we normally would want to go as Christians. You see, in a time of danger, the natural inclination we have is to huddle.
It's the huddle,
Now, huddling is the worst thing you could do. Bring 20 people into a room and everybody start to sympathize with everybody. You put your hand on and oh boy, it ain't so bad, and that's the worst thing you can do. Because in that huddle, this thing is spreading. And so the virus is getting us everywhere where our natural inclination is pushing us to. So it's going against all of our natural instincts. And it's causing us to act completely contrary to how we would normally want to act in a situation like this. When there's a great trauma, the first thing you do with somebody is you hug them.
Yeah.
Now, you had to have a hands-off policy.
Listen, I just did 2 funerals back to back.
And nobody can hug.
And nobody could hug.
And you had to sit apart.
And hold on. The people who I did the funeral for, at least one of them, were people I knew.
You can't touch them.
Summer taught my daughter.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I just wanted to embrace her and say, oh gosh, I'm so sorry for your loss.
You can't do it. So everything that is natural in our response, this virus pushes against it. And that's why it's so insidious. Because it gets us at every natural instinct and every natural response that we have. Everyone.
It had to be from the devil.
Well, boy, I know. You see, when there's great trauma, not only do we hug, we want to put your hand on a person's shoulder, or you want to put your hand around a person's shoulder and just give them a little tug and say, you know, it's all right, it's all right. But no, what the virus forcing us to do? Maintain personal space. Maintain personal space. And distance from those who we feel most connected to. And that's a challenge. You see, we would normally go and visit our parents and our grandparents when they need of comforting. Now, what are you doing?
I'm talking to them through a keyhole.
No. At least my mother have a rattan gate. At least she have a rattan gate, and I could see her through the gate. I could talk to her through the gate. How are you doing? You doing all right? Good. What does you need? But it is totally contrary to everything that we consider important. And everything that is a natural impulse for us. This virus is pushing us totally contrary. Totally. And that's why it's getting us in all the difficult places. Because it's really dealing with us really hard. Our fear of infecting the elderly means that elderly people now are feeling like if they themselves have the virus. Because that's how we're treating them.
Yeah.
You have to shun them. You have to say, no, don't come. Because you want to protect them, but that makes them now feel far more isolated than they should be feeling. That again is the natural inclination, and the virus is going totally contrary to our natural inclination.
It has to be from, every time you make a statement like that, I'm going to ball, it has to be from the devil.
Boy, I don't know. We will see, we will see. Those with serious underlying medical conditions, the aged and the infirm, they're most at risk. And those who do the natural thing to huddle, they too are most at risk. If you touch your face, as I tend to do all the time, then guess what? You're most at risk.
I'm going a big. You understand? You see this, during this desk, I am going to go a big beard, so I can't touch my face.
Are we sure, Doc? This virus gets us everywhere that we express our humanity, our intuitiveness, our natural inclination, our everything. This virus just gets us in all the wrong places. Everywhere that we want to, or every response we have learned over a millennia or a million years, the virus is actually pushing us against that response. And that makes it really difficult to cope with. And a lot of people think, so, I've had calls from people who are having all kind of symptoms.
Symptoms?
Listen to me, you have no idea?
Symptoms, you say?
Yes, all kind of symptoms.
Explain.
I had a call from somebody who was frequenting the toilet to use that thing that they bought cases of. and nausea and all kinds of things. So eventually when I listened through to the person, and they had already spoken to their doctor, I said to them, okay, here's what I want you to do. Breathe with me. So they're breathing with me. And I say, okay, now what I want you to do, I want you to go and do 10 minutes of Christian meditation. When you finish that, call me back. 10 minutes later, or 15 minutes later, I get a call back. He said, that ain't good, boy. I say, how you feeling now? I said, I'm feeling real good. Yeah. Anxiety, you know. Anxiety is what the person was suffering from. But the anxiety is somatized. Yeah. It's coming out in all kinds of ways. So, you know, that again is how this epidemic is getting us in our human nature, because people are tuned in 24/7 to every piece of breaking news, and it's sending us into a spiral of anxiety. And that spiral of anxiety means that I don't have the calm or the response to deal with the next person. And that means that I'm not treating other people really, really well. And it also means that my body is now not resilient, because my body now is succumbing to anxiety and having all kinds of ailments because of anxiety that have nothing to do with this virus.
And hold on. You're not sleeping because you want to watch what's the next thing in the news.
Right.
And you're watching about 3-4 different stations. And you have the radio on and you have WhatsApp on.
And you're going into depression.
Yes.
You're slumping down.
Yeah.
You're losing life. You're losing a sense of joy. And your whole worldview is being painted in the most dark paints you could ever have, because all you see is doomsday coming.
Right.
The virus is getting us on every form of human activity that it can.
It comes from the devil. I tell you, man, it comes from the devil.
Well, you know, the managing of the anxiety sometimes I think is worse than the COVID-19 itself.
The managing of the anxiety?
Yes. Because a lot of people are having all kind of symptoms.
Yeah.
I'm using my word again.
Yes, symptoms.
All kind of symptoms I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
That have nothing to do with COVID-19, you know. As a virus, it has to do with COVID-19 as a phenomena that has taken over the world. So I want to separate now the virus, which is a microbe working inside of us, and the phenomena which has taken over the world and the imagination of human beings, and sent us into fear, into panic, and into price gouging, into hoarding, into all kinds of activities that are really bad activities for us human beings.
Hold on. I just want to give an example.
So you don't want to tell me that's from the devil too?
Yeah, that's from the devil too.
I mean,
hold on. I went to one of these big, warehouse supermarkets or whatever it is, and I couldn't get in. The line was round the corner. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about round the corner, and everybody was keeping the social distance. So between carts, you had at least 3 to 4 feet.
Right.
So you can imagine where that line was.
Yeah.
By the time I got into...
They had nothing to buy?
No, they had nothing to buy. I had an appointment, so I had to walk right back out. So I
wasted your time.
I wasted my time.
Yeah.
Because when you saw the lineup to go to the cashier, I said, well, wait a minute. I am not going to reach that cashier for another hour. And I have a meeting with the Archbishop, for the show.
Yeah.
So I'll leave everything.
But that's why I'm saying this virus gets us human beings in everywhere where our natural instinct is. Because we naturally want to be informed. We naturally want to preserve ourselves. We naturally want to hurt all kinds of ways. So we're natural social beings. That's who we are. And worse than that, our Christian tradition teaches us to care for the most vulnerable. And you just did a funeral.
Yes. And I couldn't help.
What was the quality of your pastoral care?
Yeah,
in a COVID-19 dominated funeral? What was the quality of your care?
It was difficult. It was difficult. I just had to hope. And hold on. No eulogy. No sharing.
No.
6 people in front of you.
Yes.
And everybody who would have liked to have been
Can't be there.
Couldn't be there. So it was even more painful for the family.
Yes.
And I couldn't hug.
Yes. And many times families take consolation in how many people turn up for the funeral.
Yeah, of course.
So when it's 6 people
Yeah.
in the church and you,
Yeah.
you know, that itself is an anomaly. I'm telling you, this virus is getting us everywhere that we express our humanity and our natural inclinations as human beings. Everywhere. Everywhere is getting us in all those wrong places.
You see, you wrote the highest law is love of God and of neighbor.
Yeah.
And this is putting pressure on that.
And what is the virus doing?
Moving us to isolation,
Right.
that had to be from the devil. I'm telling you.
So, the love of God is the supreme law. The love of neighbor and the love of God is the one commandment he gave us.
Yes.
What is the virus doing? It's fragmenting us.
Yeah.
It's isolating us. It does not allow us to express love in any form or fashion. And that is really where the challenge. So there is the virus. Then there's the COVID-19 phenomena, which is all these things that we're talking about, that is bigger. I think these are bigger than the virus in many ways. Because what it's demanding of us is terrible. So the virus moves us to isolation and to see everyone as if they're a possible enemy who could bring about my death. Hold 1 second, eh? Yes.
You know, he jumped me. I was going to do that. He jumped me. He jumped me. He really jumped me.
No, I had to watch you now.
No, but it's true.
But I have to watch you. And that's what the virus is doing. When you start to look at people as potential threats,
Yeah.
then, and there's no respect of personage. The Prime Minister of England has the virus.
Yeah, it was in the news. It was
Yes. Now, no respect of persons.
in the news.
Big, small, thin, fat, high, low, rich, poor, black, white. This virus just going through anybody. And that's why it is so insidious. But, you know, it moves us to isolation. It moves us to see people as possible enemies. But it fosters paranoia. And that's the worst part of this. That people are becoming paranoid and fixated. So they're fixated on the news cycle. They're fixated on it. But they're also fixated on other people. So every time they see somebody, that person can give me,
Yeah.
okay. And that's all the unconscious drama that this virus is causing in our heads, in our social relationships, and in our lives. And that's far more than what is happening inside my body. Far, far more. And I think more people are affected by the drama of COVID-19, and I'm calling it that, than are affected by the virus called COVID-19. Far more people are affected by the drama. And that's what we have to guard against. Because when we go to paranoia, then have you found yourself checking to see if anybody send you an email or WhatsApp? And you scroll, you're checking, nothing. And you start now into a rote action where you are now clued in and tied in to a set of behaviors that you cannot sustain for any long period of time. And that's the drama of COVID-19. And I want to play it out as a drama because I want people to hear that we have hooked in, and it has hooked us in by the news cycle, by the paranoia, by the fear that we are feeling. People are feeling symptoms of illnesses that they don't have. People are checking temperature every 3 minutes. You laughing?
No. I wonder if I have a sore throat, boy.
You laughing?
They have a new thing now.
What's
How
it?
long you could hold in your breath?
Yes.
If you could hold in your breath
For
for more than 10 seconds.
Without coughing.
Without coughing.
But, okay.
All right.
No coughing. This is a drama.
Yeah.
And so I'm separating the virus from the drama. The drama is how we human beings are ingesting this idea of a virus and the impact it's having upon us and the way that we now are dealing with it that is creating more havoc than the virus itself, I think.
Right. You see St. Ignatius of Loyola.
That's my boy, you know.
Is your boy?
That's my boy.
He said he called the devil the enemy of human nature.
And when you look at COVID-19,
it come from the devil.
It looked like the enemy in truth, you know.
But it looked like
because
the enemy.
It is everything against what human nature looks like. So everything that human nature naturally is inclined to, COVID-19 is opposed to that and pushing us in a totally different direction. But at this point, I want to pause up a moment and say to people, you know, I've done the drama this way, so hopefully you could start hearing and ticking boxes where you have tied into the drama. Are you finding yourself paranoid about this thing? Is fear taking you over? Are you finding yourself short and really thing with those around you? Are you consuming far too much news? Is your spirit starting to dive? Are you losing hope and losing a sense of joy and peace with the world? If that is happening to you, that's the drama of COVID-19. And you have to stop and disengage. You just have to stop and disengage from it. Because that drama doesn't help you and it doesn't help anybody around you. In fact, it's leading people to kinds of symptoms that are creating other problems that the healthcare cannot cope with right now. So let me tell you, after the first week, I had to disengage. I literally, consciously had to disengage. I went to kayak.
Yeah.
I had a beautiful kayak. It was wonderful. Then I came back and I meditated. I prayed. I didn't do anything until must be about 1:30 that day. I went just from, meditation, prayer. I sat down and I thought through some things. I try not to check my email, my phone, my WhatsApp, anything. I just disengaged on that Saturday. And it wasn't until Saturday afternoon that I went now to go back to read the gospel for the next day and to pray through the gospel for the next day. And that was the most serious activity I did on that Saturday. Because for the week before, I had tied in because I needed to understand and I needed to get up to speed real quick. But that tied me into it in a particular kind of way that I had to then untie myself from. Otherwise, I would be no good to all the people that I am journeying with and all the people I have to lead, like you who are part of this program. And I want to say to you, take a mental check, tick, 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 see where you have tied in and start unraveling and start untying that knot. Because that tying in will lead you to a very narrow mental space. It will lead you to very few options. It will lead you to pessimism. It will lead you to a depressive kind of outlook. It will lead you to a kind of paranoia. And it will lead you ultimately to not be able to sleep properly when you go to bed at night. And ultimately not to be able to pray. So breathe deeply. Take one huge, wonderful, God-given breath right now. And release now. And just release. And go into a time of prayer and silence, meditation, and disengage from the whole frenzy that has been caused. Because that is another secondary symptom of what the pandemic is doing for us human beings. We have some other secondary symptoms that are interesting, though.
Well, you talk about you went to kayak. I went to plant. So I've been planting up a storm, sowing the seeds, that kind of thing, and growing food.
Wonderful. So when I looking for food, I know who I come and buy.
Well, just put on some pumpkin there. I'm feeling good about it.
Excellent.
Now, you talk about a second view.
Yeah,
what is
look
this
again.
second view?
Once you get past the horror, past the terror, past the pandemic, past the paranoia, past the fear, past the social distancing, past the sense of isolation, past looking at people as if they are somehow an enemy to you. Once you understand that this is part of the new psyche that we're using, and you say, no. I don't want to engage my living in this world that way. Mm-hmm. Now you could take another view, a fresh view. And that view is fragile still. I think it's very compelling.
Let me go with the view.
So let's call it the planet's view.
The planet's view.
Yeah, the planet. You see, on the 24th of January, the UN Secretary General, addressing the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, spoke about the greatest threat facing humanity. And he said the ability to live on this planet. He said many believe that the planet is resilient, but the ability to live and sustain life on this planet is the greatest threat facing humanity. That was in January the
26th. Yeah.
Okay. We reach now to March. That's no longer the greatest threat facing humanity. And look how that recalibrated so quickly, eh?
Right. Yeah.
From the planet and the existence of the planet to something different. So he said, many believe the planet is resilient and we are innovative with our science, so we need not worry. But he retorted, the planet will be okay. Don't worry about the planet. It is we who will be destroyed if we do not change our carbon footprint and all that we are doing to cause the destruction of our planet. The planet will be fine, you know. The planet will be here long after us. Look at Mars. Mm-hmm. Mars used to have deep oceans, plenty water, plenty oxygen, and all the conditions for life. Mars now is a sand ball. Yeah. And so he's saying, we have a challenge, because if we keep doing what we're doing, we're kicking to the next generation a problem that they don't deserve to receive from us. We should hand the planet to them in a better condition than how we found it. And what we are doing is we are reaping all the rewards of the planet and kicking forward a significant debt. You know what it comes like? It comes like, you know, when you were putting aside for your children's education. Imagine if you started to dip into the education fund of your children to go on Lime on a Friday night.
I got it.
You're dipping into the thing to go and buy a nice car. You're dipping into your children's education fund to go and have a great time on some cruise. And you keep dipping into the fund of your children, which is really for the future growth and their development. You're dipping into that for you to enjoy yourself. That's what we're doing as a planet. And as humanity, we've made collective decisions to leverage and sacrifice our children and their future for our lifestyle and for how we want to live right now. And it's a really interesting thing, because when we see that, and we see now, what has COVID-19 done to that? That's an interesting thing. Everything has come to a stop. Everything has stopped. Planes not flying, ships not moving,
cars not traveling.
Coal is now reduced in the amount of tons of coal being used per day. All the things that have created the greatest challenge for the planet and the climate change
have been reduced,
have just been rolled back at the touch of a button. Just roll back.
The microbe.
This little microbe.
The little microbe.
This little microbe working for the planet. It's working for the planet. You know, there's an old saying, God always forgives. Humans sometimes forgive. Nature never forgives.
Hold on. God
always forgives.
Always forgives.
Mm-hmm.
Human beings
sometimes.
But
nature don't forgive. When you do wrong by nature, wrong comes back to you. because nature doesn't have that sponge of absorbance. So we've done wrong by nature. We have, in so many different ways. This pandemic is part of the experience of how nature works in different ways. Every time humans have treated nature shabbily, we've had pandemics. So we now have an experience where we have to stop and take note of nature. And nature now has a totally different view than the view we had. And our use of nature is totally different from how it was just 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks. And look how we could get by with so much less than what we thought we could. Everybody turning off air conditioned units now, opening up windows again. You couldn't get people to do that if you begged them 3 months ago.
You're driving in my car, you must get a little cold breeze.
Everybody rolling down windows.
Windows down. You know?
And taxi people who don't want to put off the air conditioner and roll down the windows, people getting out of their taxis.
You never get that in the past.
No.
Never.
So look how the attitude is shifting. Look at how it's shifting. So there's this this youth activist, Greta Thunberg, 16 years old. And she's been an activist for the climate for a long while. She has some marvelous words about our relationship with the planet. She's taken on all the world leaders. And when she met with the world leaders in the UN, she said, I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean.
Yeah.
Yet, you all come to us young people for hope? How dare you? You have stolen my dreams, my childhood, with your empty words. Yet I am one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are suffering. Why is she one of the lucky ones? Because she's conscious. She sees the suffering of the planet. She understands how the planet is hurting. And she's crying out as an advocate on behalf of the planet. And so what the Microbe has done is it's changed the way we have operated and engaged with the planet and change what seemed to be unchangeable in human behavior and allowed something new that seemed to be impossible before. Really and truly, it's clearly incredible. On another occasion, she said, we children are doing this to wake up the adults. We children are doing this to wake up the adults. Because she feels very passionately that the way that humanity was going, it was going over a precipice because at some stage we would have done irreparable damage to the planet. I think last year it was the UN Secretary General who said we had 12 years before we do irreparable damage to the planet. That's a serious thing. What has the Microbe done? What has it done? So she says again, we children are doing this for you to put your differences aside and start acting as you would in a crisis. Well,
everybody in a crisis.
Now, everybody acting on behalf of the planet, not understanding the real crisis we face is the planet and the way we've been treating the planet for the longest while. Yeah. And the fact that we were unready to pull back on how we were living in the treatment of the planet. What has the Microbe done? What has it done?
Well, boy,
what has it done?
It has caused us to pause.
Okay.
It has caused us to do everything that we should have been doing, but he's forcing us to do it.
Exactly.
He's still from the devil.
Well, there we go. He says, we children are doing this because we want our hopes and dreams back. We want a planet that we could live in and pass to our children. What you are passing to us is a broken, hurting planet, and it's been broken and hurt by your lifestyle, your life choices, and by what you've chosen to do. And you're handing that to us, and that's unfair. We want a planet that we can enjoy and pass on to our children that is better than what we have right now. Tell me what the Microbe is doing now. Where is the Microbe working? Asking you, no. Where is the microbe working? Tell me where the microbe is working.
Pressure. The Archbishop J giving me pressure, you know. It's still from the devil.
Okay. We go back one. You're trying to
I want to move.
I see that. We aren't destroying the biosphere, she says, because we are selfish. We are doing it simply because we are unaware. And we want to remain unaware. Now,
So you wait. So,
what is the little microbe doing? Tell me where the microbe is acting right now. This little microbe, tell me where it is.
I just want to refer to something, on
Go
the way
ahead.
to areas.
Go ahead.
Be kind of foolish and slow. You're only foolish and slow.
That's a good biblical description. You know.
No, it's not. Ever
It's
since
a
we did it, you know, a couple shepherd corners away, you know, we
It's
kind
a
of foolish
good,
and slow.
it's a good biblical description. Eh?
Yeah.
And it's a good one in this instance. So let's take another view. Let's call this one the environmentalist view. From early in March, the unthinkable has really happened. Eh? We have canceled flights, we have cut back on the use of our cars, we have voluntarily cut back on the carbon emissions, we have self-regulated our lifestyle and dramatically reduced injury to the environment. And we did it by choice. Tell me where the microbe is now. Help me now.
I actually carpooled the other day.
Help me where the microbe is working. Whose side the microbe on right now? Where the microbe? Help me now.
It come from the devil.
We're achieving what global leaders, with all of their power, pomp, ceremony, privilege, could not achieve.
Private jets, the books.
Could not achieve in Paris 2019. In Paris, 2015.
Yeah.
In Paris, in 2015, there was a world convention of global leaders to make agreements about what we would do to roll back on climate change and how we would work to change our lifestyle so that we would become much more eco-friendly and allow the climate space for healing so that the climate changes that we have been experiencing would get a period for healing. And all kinds of big agreements were made. Deals were cut at the last minute. The most powerful people in the world gathered. And what they did was make all kinds of concessions, agreements, deals on behalf of the planet, and very little of it has actually been lived out. Very little of it. And all the powerful, the 20 most powerful people in the world coming together on behalf of the planet is not as powerful
As the little microbe.
as my little microbe.
So give me the microbe's view. I want the microbe's view. You give me about the planet's view, the environmentalist view, the young people view. Give me the microbe's view. And convince me.
I don't know if I convincing you, you know, because I see where your mind is.
From the devil.
This little microbe, coronavirus,
Coronavirus. Yeah,
coronavirus,
Yeah.
2019 nCoV, has achieved what most powerful leaders in the world were unable or unwilling to do. No, it's not this small. It's smaller than that. It's smaller than a dust particle in the air. You know, sometimes you could see a dust particle.
Yeah.
Okay. The microbe hooks onto a dust particle.
And rides the dust particle.
Yeah. So it's smaller than a dust particle that we may or may not see in the air. The microbe has done what the most powerful in the world have been unable to do, and in some cases, what they have been unwilling to do.
I like the word unwilling.
Well, I use
want to
it
use the word
both.
unwilling.
But no, I go in with both. Some were unable,
Yeah.
and some were unwilling. And whichever one people fell into, and not just the most powerful leaders, you and me, we have not been working for the benefit of the planet.
Man, I throw me bus that thing out the window. Go on in the drain.
And when
I
you
should not say
see,
buster, but one of them plastic bottles.
when you see you need to change your fridge,
Yeah.
you know where the best place is the old fridge?
In the ravine, know what I mean?
Hello. And a bed, a mattress.
Look, I'll leave it there for some
And-
a vagrant in case
And
you want it.
when you see you're ready to plant on your hill,
Boom! I burn down the hillside.
we have been absolutely irresponsible in our work and our relationship with the planet. We've been absolutely irresponsible. But what is the microbe doing? What is the microbe doing? Help me now. You're not helping me. What is the microbe doing?
Pressure. Well, we know in China, the blue sky is visible in the big cities as the thick smog is lifted.
Imagine people in China haven't seen blue sky for years, you know.
But since they can actually see blue sky now.
The smog is lifting. I saw a little video where dolphins were playing right where the port because they had no ships in the harbor.
That fake news, that fake news, fake news, fake news.
And the dolphins were up and down right where the ships normally are.
Fake news.
They had another shot, beautiful shot, geese walking across a runway because there are no planes flying. So the geese gone back to exactly where they used to be before.
Tell him that fake news.
Nature is reclaiming nature, and the microbe has taken a side. Might be your side, might be my side, but it's the side of the future of the planet, and it's the side of the children that have not yet been born. And there's a weird way to look at it. But what I want to see is that all things work for good for those who believe and trust in God.
Amen.
All things work for good for those who believe and trust in God. What the microbe is doing is ravaging on the level of the human, ravaging in the body of the human, and especially the old and the infirm, ravaging. But let's look again and see what else the microbe is doing, because it's not only doing one thing, it's doing multiple things. And what it is doing for the planet, I think is quite amazing. To see the beauty of God's creation, this little microbe has achieved for the planet what we humans were unable or unwilling to do. You know, it's been impossible for anybody, Pope Francis included, to put the environment square and center on the agenda of humankind. So he did it in 2015 when he put out his pastoral letter, Laudato Si. This is the 5th anniversary of Laudato Si.
Is the 5th anniversary?
Yeah, 2015.
So no.
2020. How many years was that?
That's 5 years.
5 years. Good. This is the 5th anniversary of Laudato Si.
Yeah.
And for the 5th anniversary of Laudato Si, a little microbe is achieving what the Pope couldn't get Catholics to do. What the Pope couldn't get the Catholic population in the world to do, this little microbe is achieving it.
Let me go to Trinidad and Tobago. I want to hear Trinidad and Tobago. What is the T&T view? We can't lime, we can't party, we can't drink.
Now, let me ask you a question.
What?
Have you ever heard anybody or anything shutting down the bars, the nightlife in Trinidad and Tobago?
Not even a hurricane. Not even the earthquake.
Not a coup.
Not even the coup.
Not even a coup.
No,
in the coup, they used to have the coup parties.
Yeah.
Curfew starting 6 o'clock. Men at 1 minute to 6 skating in to some bar and spending the night there and next morning gone again. What has the microbe done? Where's the microbe?
Wait.
No, help me.
Smoky and Bunty. How things going with all your boy?
But tell me, where's the microbe? Where's the microbe? But this little microbe has done it and caused families to be at home. When last you had your whole family home for any period of time?
I want to guess. I want to tell you something.
Tell me.
I constantly a couple. You know, husband and wife, they quarreling. You know, wife called me and say, you know, we actually becoming friends. We forced to become friends. We talking to each other now. It's the little microbe. That little microbe. That little microbe.
Where's the microbe now?
Oh,
where's this microbe? You see, families are now forced into confined spaces. 3 weeks ago, we were too busy to say more than hi and bye to each other in a passing moment. Far too busy. What happened to all the important stuff that was so important that we had to rush around doing? Where that stuff went to? Huh? Where it went? All of a sudden, everything that was so important 3 weeks ago that we couldn't do without and the world couldn't do without and this job and that job couldn't do without, where has all the important stuff gone from 3 weeks ago?
Listen, man. Another wife tell me, my husband actually cleaning out the storeroom. I tried to get him to do that for the last 20 years, he don't doing it. The little microbe.
Who behind all of this?
The little microbe.
Let me tell you something. Eh? No prime minister, no archbishop, no pundit, imam, leader, manager, CEO, nobody could have such power as to stop the bars, to stop the fat, to stop the lime, to stop the busyness, to stop the Olympics,
cricket,
to stop
football,
cricket,
yeah.
to stop football, to stop. No leader has that kind of power. But in having that power, I want you to imagine that parents and children are now spending many hours together. Could you imagine that? Could you even imagine that 4 weeks ago?
No.
And how is it possible? How did that happen? Tell me now.
The thing the devil sent, the little microbe.
I find the devil undo himself. because if it's the devil who sent it, I find it working for the kingdom of God.
Unprecedented, the man said.
Unprecedented. We have had to slow down. We've had to face each other. We've had to live in small spaces together. We've had to support each other and pray together and learn again how to be around each other without the manic madness of our fast-paced living.
That's a mouthful, you know.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful when you just say there, you know.
Yes. But wait, before you change it.
I just want to use the word unprecedented. May I say nothing else? I'll leave it the word unprecedented.
Tell me, who is the power behind the throne?
Microbe.
Who is the power behind the throne?
Microbe.
You know, neighbors are calling each other. Neighbors who didn't know each other's number.
Hold on. People used to come in, drive in, walk in the door, doing talk to their neighbors. They don't even know how their neighbors going. Now neighbors talking to neighbors.
Calling each other.
I have some partners. They share drinks over a wall. Yes, drinks over a wall.
Who doing that? The little microbe. And we checking in on each other. And that's so important. People are buying food for the elderly and allowing them to stay at home. This tenderness and caring that is emerging in our country that we haven't seen for generations. Generations. People are now sharing the little bit that they have, and everything they hoard, people starting to have conscience and starting to share what they was hoarding.
I'm frightened to say this on national TV.
But tell me who causing it?
I'm frightened. Little microbe. Listen, I have a partner. He living in a hot spot. He say even the boys on the hot spot, they calm down.
Who causing that?
The microbe.
Tenderness, man, caring, love. This is Lent. And most have willingly given up something for Lent. You know, we start off Lent, hot and sweaty, we give up something.
Yeah.
I want you to think of a single Lent in your entire years. I was going to call how many, but then years of your existence. Could you think of a Lent where more has been given up by more people than this Lent? Where more people have made more sacrifice than we are making in this Lent? Can you think of any time?
Not in my lifetime. Not in my lifetime.
No. Maybe 1970, but I was young. That was different, but I don't remember it.
Yeah,
but
you see,
I was 10 years old.
Yeah, but 1970 was only a Trinidad and Tobago kind of lockdown
Yes,
here.
it wasn't international.
But this is global.
But think of the sacrifice that is happening. Think of what is happening for family life. Think of what is happening in marriages. Think of what is happening for the planet. Think of what is happening for the environment. Think of what is happening for people. When have we had such unprecedented sacrifice in a Lenten period before? When?
They go stone here, you know. I know they go stone here. You know. When all them boys in Carolina and Smokey and Budgie on the avenue hear this, they come in to stone this man.
Not me now. It's the microbe. Not me. It's the microbe. The slowing down, the way we have done it. This little microbe has forced us to weigh license and freedom. You know, in this country, license is everything, you know.
Yeah.
License is everything. Everybody wants freedom. They want it to the max. They want it pushed to license. But what about responsibility? What about responsibility? What about social responsibility? Personal responsibility? What about responsibility to your neighbor? What about responsibility to your nation? What about responsibility to the planet? Who is bringing back about a totally different way now for us to live as human beings? I find your voice dropping as you go along this thing, you know. I find you're running out of water and your voice dropping too. Networks are being built. People are working together to find solutions. And we are finding a new way of living. Help me now. Help me.
It's the microbe. It's the microbe. What lessons we learn?
You know, this little microbe is teaching people that every life is important. The young, the old, the rich, the poor. You could have as much money as you want in this world, and if you have respiratory problems and you get pneumonia through this, no amount of money is saving you. My brother-in-law, who is a special infectious disease specialist, he's caring for many, many patients right now in the Maryland area. And he said every research paper that has come out at all, he's reading it to develop new theories, new treatments, new ways of approaching. Cocktails even they're trying. And he said, I have thrown everything that anybody has suggested behind my patients. Everything. Totally unresponsive. Totally. And so we have a sense that this is not a respect of personage. You could have as much money as you want. That's not helping you or saving you. If you're not going to obey rules, you are either going to die or get ill or infect somebody and cause deaths of other people.
Wow.
There's a famous case of the case number 31, South Korea. One person who came from China into South Korea got into an accident, was taken into the emergency room. They did a full scan of her and she was all okay. No major problem. She had a little temperature. They wanted to test her for COVID-19. She said, nah, it's just the accident. They didn't worry to test her. She went to church. She went to church the next week. She went to a buffet in a hotel. She infected 1,200 people. And the knock-on effect was more than 8,000 people from that 1,200 to the next thing. Okay? So if we are not willing to obey the laws of nature, then we have to look and see what the impact is on us human beings. And the microbe is teaching us a lesson as humanity that we've not wanted to learn. That we have to obey the laws of nature.
Respect for others. Discipline. That's why he's teaching us.
Yeah,
and we are not disciplined people.
That's it. It's teaching us how much we can do without. It's teaching us discipline. It's teaching us what is really important in life.
The microbe
is teaching us. It's teaching us the value of family. It's teaching us the Eucharist, the value of the Eucharist. You know what people 3-4 weeks ago were saying, why are you giving us this unsatisfying food to eat? That's a direct quote from Numbers, when the people were given the bread, the manna in the desert. Why are you giving, stand up, sit down, grumbling about the Eucharist? Now, people all of a sudden, people are realizing the real value of the Eucharist, the real value of God, the real value of spirituality. And if you're going through this time without spirituality, you're going to be in anxiety, you're going to be in the manic stage, you're going to be in a depressive stage, you're going to be hooking in. And that's why I started by pointing out the second level, because unless you take a planetary view and step back and say, okay, this thing is not all bad, it's actually creating some interesting scenarios here for us, and therefore we have to look at this again. Unless you're willing to do that, then you're not going to be able to distance, trust, and put your whole trust in God and know that God is in charge here too. Because this thing is not just acting for evil, it's also acting for good. Because all things work for good for those who love and trust the Lord.
Oh, good. So is it a tool of the devil or an invitation from God? You realize I changed my tone there, all right? So what's the key message, Wanda?
No. Come, I'm not letting you off the hook. Is it a tool of the devil or is it an invitation from God? I would offer you my water to drink, but we shouldn't do that in these days.
Archbishop J, give us the key message.
No.
Pressure. All right. Okay. I get the message.
What's the key message? Tell me.
Discern good and evil is not always easy, the man says. We must always inquire deeply. So he takes us on some levels here and not settle on the first read. It's from the devil. That's what I said.
And I'm saying, I don't know if it's from the devil, from God, from nature, or from where it has come from. I do not know. But I'm saying it is having consequences on the level of the human family, different set of consequences on the level of the planet, different consequences for the environment, for the family, and for us. And we have to understand that, and we have to discern. And that's why I want people disconnecting, focusing on God, and engaging God in the midst of this, so that we don't get our mind wrapped up into the negativity. But we see also that maybe, just maybe, there's something else emerging here that we need to look at.
Our next read demands, but give me an action step. We need
so
action
make a
step.
list of all the ways that your life has changed since Friday, March the 13th, when we started this thing. That was the first day a notice went out from the government and from us. How has your life changed since then? Make a rigorous list of this. And then evaluate those changes and ask the deeper question. How is this inviting me to become a better version of myself or a worse version of myself? What is the invitation that is lurking behind all these changes that have happened in my life since March the 13th? That's what we need to do.
Inviting us to be a better version of ourselves. Scripture reading.
John 9, 1-5. And that was a reading with the man born blind. This blindness didn't happen because the man sinned or his parents sinned. This has happened so that the glory of God will be revealed.
The microbe. Give us a prayer, Archbishop.
Father, we thank you for your incredible love for us. And we pray, oh God, that you give us eyes to see and help us to focus on you and you alone. That as we live through these days, we see through your eyes and understand through your heart. We make our prayer through Christ our Lord. Amen.